Hey everyone, Michael, Soothing here with part 2 of our discussion about local Santa Cruz County attractions, because I happen to be staying as a tourist even though I spent 50 years here as a resident, okay? So I know all these places. But since I am here on travel, and because it's election season, I wonder if you could help me out with a very, very important, controversial question that I've been seeking opinions and an answer to. And that question is, this is, one of those things in life that's too important to ignore. So even though I like to avoid politics normally, I wonder if you could help me with this. And that is, boxers or briefs? I really need to know which way to go for tomorrow, okay? No one's gonna see them but me, but I still need, an opinion on this, Or how about maybe a swimsuit, okay? So if you could weigh in on that age-old controversy, I would appreciate it greatly. Now, let's move on to local attractions, all of which I've been to and familiar with, and then I can tell you, most I should say, not all. First of all, sport fishing in Monterey Bay. Here we go. Salmon and deep sea fishing. Now, I haven't gone out on a stag narrow charter boat, but I have gone out many times with my friend Walter, and we caught some beautiful Chinook salmon out there in Monterey Bay, generally in the March, April, and May time frame. And you troll for those, or you fish anchovies on a little thing that they spin around behind a little plastic head, or you just troll lures. They're very tasty, especially if they've been feeding on squid. They have a little more flavor if they've been feeding on anchovies, I think. But in any case, if they feed on krill, the meat is more pink, and if they feed on anchovies, it's more of a white, flaky look. All right, so here we have Monterey Bay kayak and kayaks, and this is if you're down by the Monterey Wharf. You can get a kayak there, and the water's very calm, like a lake, and you can kayak around, and you can look at sea otters and kelp forests and things like that. The water's very clear down there, so that's a nice activity. These are typical sites, and I'm familiar with these places. That's the Monterey sort of fisherman's wharf, and they've got shops out there and restaurants. There's a sea lion. That guy is not a sea lion. That is a harbor seal right there. So he's a little different species. They're smaller than the sea lions. They're kind of cute, And I forgot to tell you, for going out with an individual, we used to also get a lot of good Dungeness crab out there. Walter would put down crab pots, and then you pick them up a day or two later, and they have great big crabs in them. They have to be about 6 inches across to be a keeper, and they have to be male, not female. It's very discriminatory against us guys, but it's so that the females can keep having the eggs and making little baby crabs in the future, right? Okay, here's a spot that this is called the mystery spot. And if you're in Santa Cruz County, you'll see ads for it. The AC fan is too loud, so I'm gonna go turn that off. If you'll excuse me for one moment, I don't want you distracted by it, even if I have to overheat just a little bit. Hold on. Fan off. I'm back on. All right. What I want to tell you about this place is it's kind of a tourist trap that will disappoint you, maybe, if you drive way up into the redwoods to this place. It's a place where, there's optical illusions. It's supposed to be all, magical and everything. You can take a little ball and it rolls uphill and stuff like that. But it's all just, optical illusions. Trees growing at weird angles and stuff. It has to do with the topography of the area. Changes that took place after earthquakes and slides and things like that. Excuse me while I sip a little bit of water. This laptop puts a harsh blue light out, so we'll close that for now. And while I'm doing all this, I think maybe I should talk about, I should try one of my snacks. I brought things along. This is something sent to me from either Denmark or Sweden. And it's called Malaco. It's got a monkey on it. Check that out. And does anyone else find monkeys rather fascinating? I always have. When I've gone to the zoo, I like to watch them. I don't know what that says. Maybe you can tell me. I think it's Swedish. Because I know some. Yes. It's from Malmo. When I was in Sweden, I went to Malmo and I picked this up, I think, and put it in my bag and just found it again in my suitcase. So let me open it and see what in the heck it might be. I can see in this bag, you can see there's something down in there. Little cubes of something. But what they are, I don't know. It's something like Junjovral. I have no idea how to pronounce Swedish. My voice is going, and that's why I'm going to have to do some whispering. Okay? Okay, here's what looks like up close. What one looks like up close, if we can get the camera to focus. Do you ever do those funny pictures where you're squeezing someone's head, like in your fingers like that? Anyway, I'm easily amused. Oh my gosh. Why did I do that? It's something that's super, super spicy and hot and salty, but I still don't know what it is. Now I know why this monkey is howling. I think it's some kind of a joke food or something. Like, have one of these and you'll be screaming in pain. Wow, that's nasty. Whatever that is. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to have to cut the taste of that with a little Diet Dr. Pepper. I wonder if I can make this where you can hear the carbonation. Let's see. I think you can hear it, because I can hear it over here. So I'm holding it up to the microphone, and I'm pretty sure you can hear it. promised to stop drinking this stuff, but I forgot and got this one bottle because I'm on a trip. So I think I get a dispensation for one day to violate my normal. See, this isn't so good for you because it's got, what does it have in it? That's phenylketonuria, phenylalanine. That's something that can cause cognition trouble according to some studies, and so we want to avoid that kind of thing. Let's move on, shall we? If you were to drive 2 hours north of here, not quite Santa Cruz County really, but you would come to San Francisco Bay. There's the Golden Gate Bridge, see? And you could go out to Alcatraz Island and do a tour on a ferry boat for $30. Is that the tour and everything? Yeah. Departing from Pier 33. And you could see what it was like for the prisoners that were out on the Rock, as it was called. You know, that's an island all by itself in San Francisco Bay. And you can go through the old penitentiary, and it feels haunted. It would have been a good video for Halloween. And they made a movie there with Clint Eastwood, a true story about some guys who escaped by making life rafts out of rain jackets or something like that, inner tubes, you know. There's a day tour there. Step back in time and go into the penitentiary. Or there's a night tour that's scary, so, you know, get closed into a cell. If I had to have been in a penitentiary for years and years, I think I would have preferred Alcatraz, because instead of being roasting hot and horrible, the way most penitentiaries are, it's got that nice, cool San Francisco air, and you could have the water around you and stuff. Hard to escape from, but, you know. Okay, since we're kind of on the Halloween theme still, even though the day is over now, I should have done a Halloween video on Jodi Arias, the worst witch of a psychotic killer succubus. She's like 10 different Halloween monsters rolled into one, you know. She's a ghoul and a demon and a succubus and a goblin. She's probably even an incubus. Anyway, and but that's off topic. And for those of you who are going, who the heck is Jodi Arias? Okay, just never mind. Anyway, on the Halloween theme, about 30 minutes from here in San Jose, heart of the Silicon Valley, we have the Winchester Mystery House. There it is. Some people say it's haunted, and with the ghosts that were killed by Winchester rifles, you see the guy who made the fortune on the rifles that sold so well in the Wild West in the 1800s and early 1900s was Winchester. Well, his widow took all that money and then she built a mansion in San Jose, but she started feeling guilty, and she thought she was being haunted by the ghosts and spirits of the dead victims of Winchester rifles. So some psychic who was taking advantage of her said, "Hey, Sarah, if you will just build rooms onto your mansion, those spirits will be appeased and they'll leave you alone and not bother you." So she started Sorry for the Harley noise. We're by a roadway. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, She started building rooms on her house, and she did that for the rest of her life. And now it looks like this. It's like this giant, giant place with rooms that go in all directions and go up and down, multi-stories, multi-directions. It's a fascinating place to walk through. Some sections you can't even go in, but they have special tours. On Halloween, they have a special scary tour. Anyway, that's a place worth visiting if you're over there. They have gardens. Here's another view of the Winchester Mystery. And there's, some of the old antiques that are in it. There's a garden area. There's staircases to nowhere in the place. They'll go up to a wall because she told the builders to just keep building, and she would give them weird instructions. Look, here's a scary spiderweb window. I remember seeing it when I was there. Spiderweb window. There's a lot of odd quirks throughout the place. Check out this here. Let's see, is that that's the view I wanted to show you from more on the inside. Okay. Group tours, yeah. Winchester Mystery House. So, now here's a place that's down the coast. Kind of similar in a way, but much bigger and more expensive. And that is the Hearst Castle. See there? You can see this from miles away because it's up on a big hill in the mountains above the coast on Highway 1 down by San Simeon. The Hearst Castle is amazing. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to save this for its own video because it's worthy of its own video topic. So I'm going to make a note to myself because I have no memory anymore. And I'm going to say Hearst Castle ASMR video. And I will put this somewhere. See, I made a note to myself. I will put this someplace and then forget where I put it, and I'll never make the video. But, at least I'm making an effort. Okay, there we go. Now, speaking of Hearst Castle, if you go down to Pismo Beach, which is not too far from there, you can get there's giant sand dunes down there, and you can get these dune buggies, and you can ride around on the dunes, which a lot of people like to do. I'm going to pause because someone is speaking loudly outside and disturbing our peace and quiet. Okay, whoever was over-vocalizing outside in such a rude manner is gone. So back to our Pismo Beach adventure. By the way, the place I'm moving to has much better dunes than Pismo Beach. It's called the Oregon Dunes Recreation Area, and there are huge miles and miles of beautiful sand dunes that go up as far as 150 feet high with trees around, and I'll show it to you sometime after I move there. We'll do a little tour of some of the, a live tour, of some of the attractions in that area. So Pismo Beach is south of where I am right now. See, we're here. We're here. Monterey Bay. San Francisco is that pin up there. And then if you go down here, down the coast, it's Pismo Beach. If you go a little further down, you'll be in Los Angeles, which is a place that you never, ever want to go, all right? Unless you're going to Disneyland, or they have some nice areas down there. I grew up there when I was a kid until age 12. Then we moved up here to the Santa Cruz County area. So I know LA very well. But that's off topic, isn't it? It's an area of palm trees and Hollywood, and there's a lot of interesting things. Overcrowded though, terrible traffic, lots of smog. But I have a certain fondness and affection for it because I spent my childhood there and did a lot of fun stuff. So good beaches in some places. Look at all the different kind of dune buggies you can rent for this place down by the ocean. Okay, but that's not really local Santa Cruz stuff. So remember, I was talking to you about Capitola Village in part 1. Here's a little better snapshot that gives you the flavor of what it looks like. See the pastel colored places right on the ocean along the waterfront there with the pier in the background. That's Capitola Village. But also, and then here's the shot from up on the cliffs to give you an idea of what it looks like. Come on, focus. There we go, camera. I knew you could do it. Let me see if they show. Well, they show the wharf. The wharf goes out a ways, see? It goes way out there. And then you can go out there and eat on the end of the wharf. A quaint seaside village in the heart of Monterey Bay. It's about 10 minutes from here, 10 miles. There's a lot of restaurants. There's the Bay Bar and Grill, Caruso's Tuscan Cuisine, El Toro Bravo, Margaritaville. Used to go to listen to dance bands there, do some dancing when I was, younger. I'd be pretty out of place right now. The Paradise Beach Grill, the Geisha Japanese restaurant, the Sandbar restaurant. Oh, the Shadowbrook. The Shadowbrook is a very fancy restaurant. You can look it up online. It's got a cable car that goes down a steep hillside by some gardens to get to the restaurant. You park up on the hill and you take this cable car down. Very picturesque, very expensive. Expect to pay. Everything is a la carte, like lobster and steak and ribs and lamb and salmon and stuff like that, but expect to pay. I haven't had any vino to drink, I promise. Expect to pay $50 a piece minimum, unless you like fine wine. Then expect to pay $100 a piece minimum, all right? But for a special occasion like an anniversary or something, I'm going to have to write those kinds of things down because my memory is not good at that anymore. Here's another thing I should do a whole video on, really, but we'll just squeeze it into this one. And that is the Roaring Camp Narrow Gauge Railroad Steam Train. Look it up online on YouTube. you'll see many people will have videos of it. Big steam come flying out the sides and up out of the top, and it's got a great sound and a whistle and everything. It's an authentic sort of narrow gauge train that goes up into the redwoods. I lived about 1 mile away from there when I was in Mount Hermon growing up in my youth and early adult life, from about 13 years old until maybe 30 years old. So, look, here's a schedule. See, now you know what time to go, okay? Did you get all that? I'll show you again. See, there's the schedule, okay? Anyway, they also have, besides the narrow gauge railroad that goes into the mountains, they have one train that goes right down to the beach boardwalk in Santa Cruz in the summertime. That's a really cool thing to ride on. Here it is, arriving at the beach boardwalk area on the bottom there. That's not a narrow gauge train, that is a normal train, but it goes from the same spot. Fantastic day trip to take if you're staying in the Santa Cruz Mountains, or even just drive up there and then take the train down to the beach boardwalk. Then you don't have to fight over parking and stuff, and then take the train back home. I think it comes and goes twice each day in the summer, something like that. And then here's the one that goes up into the redwoods. See, that's the steam engine, and then you can see the open air cars behind it that the people ride on, so that they can breathe all of that fantastic black soot into their lungs that comes out of the steam engine. All right, and here's the covered bridge you walk over to go into the place. I've been there many times. They have a great barbecue every day, you know. You can eat the barbecue, and if you're there at the park at Roaring Camp, you can walk just steps away into the Big Basin State Park without paying the park entrance fee. It's legal and everything. And there's fantastic walking paths through the giant redwoods. It's gorgeous. You can look up at those cathedral redwoods above you and do some great photography. And you'll be walking along the San Lorenzo River, which is more like about that wide. So maybe it should be called the San Lorenzo Trickle or something. But anyway, it's not very big. Okay, here's another attraction. Zip line through the redwoods. That's at the place I grew up in my later childhood, Mount Hermon. Redwood Canopy Tours. That whole area is where I grew up. I was very fortunate. I could take walks every day right down to Zayante Creek in the redwoods and be all by myself if I wanted to. I would go down there when I was, grieving over a broken heart because of my, first real girlfriend, Ute. I won't say her last name. German girl, U-T-E. I've heard it pronounced many ways. Ute and Ute and Uti and Udi, and of course the American bastardized pronunciation, we all said Uti, which is not correct, but I called her Uti. Maybe that's why she broke up with me. I don't know. No, actually, I shouldn't say this. Is it gossip? No. And I really respect, it wasn't her fault what happened. Let's just say she got involved with someone else and ran off to Texas and broke my heart. But that's just how it goes sometimes. I hope she doesn't watch this video. Yeah. I looked her up on the internet one time, and she's an Alzheimer's specialist, so I might have to, I may end up in her care someday. Oh, look at this. Woody's Cafe. This is the Santa Cruz Wharf. It's a great place to listen to rock and roll tunes and have an excellent burger and fries and shake. They're very, very good. And if you go there at the right time of day, you'll get a window table. Now those, I don't want to use a pejorative term, but someone is outside making loud vocalizations again, so I'm going to pause again. All right, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was talking about the Santa Cruz Wharf, so it's not a very good representation of it. To look at the pictures they show here, someone did a lousy job. This thing extends a half a mile out into the ocean. So this is part way out, looking back across the shoreline, but the wharf is much more impressive. You can go out on West Cliff Drive and look at the entire wharf as it extends out into the ocean. And at night you can see all the lights on it because it has all these restaurants and stuff. Like, I showed you Woody's, but right next to Woody's is the Firefish Grill. If you want a more upscale restaurant, with fresh fish, grilled or barbecued, fresh salmon and all kinds of other fish. And then out on the end is the Dolphin Restaurant, which has open air dining right out in the sun, with these kind of glass partitions that look right down so you can look into the water. And it's a very interesting wharf to go to because there's lots of sea lions. You can see sea otters out there hanging around. There are people fishing. There are shops. There's lots out there to see. So it's a good destination. There are some other restaurants we didn't discuss. Oh, wait, I think I have a better one here. This still doesn't have very good pictures. It's a different brochure of the wharf. Here's one that shows, still not a very good angle, but here's the wharf going out into the ocean there, see? Showing it about out on the end. Kind of shows how far it goes out with the beach boardwalk in the background. Here is a shot walking out onto the wharf from parking areas. It makes a little L shape as it goes out, sort of. Let's see. Here's a nice shot of Steamer Lane surfers with the wharf in the background looking from West Cliff Drive. That's a nice picture. A shot of a humpback with the beach boardwalk in the background. A humpy, right? Did you ever see Young Frankenstein, where that humpback character, Gene Wilder, the late, great Gene Wilder, who just passed away, says to him, maybe we can take care of that hump on your back? And the guy says, Marty Feldman says, what hump? I thought that was a funny line. Anyway, does it show? Oh yeah, here's a map that shows the restaurants and things and the shape of the wharf going out. See, goes out into a little dog leg there. these different things to do. Here was the classic car Woodies, in this case, the Woodies, and I don't mean what you're thinking. Okay. See there? All those people out on the wharf with those classic Woodies, a car show. That's a cool event. Rock and roll music playing, you know. So that's a good destination. What else can you do in Monterey? Oh, here you go. There's right off of the wharf or out of the yacht harbor, which is another place to go. Nice place to go. We have whale watching, right? When I was observing the Jodi Arias trial and observing her attorney, I did a little bit of this, whale watching, okay? And to some of the people from Wairika, California. Okay, just kidding, okay? Don't hate on me, okay? People in glass houses, as they say, all right? Should not throw stones. Look, rated 4.5 stars. I hope you can't hear that obnoxious person who keeps going outside here and yelling into their cell phone. Shouldn't that be a death penalty offense? Can someone tell me why it is that when people get outside, the phone microphone is perfectly capable of picking up your voice from inches away? You don't have to scream into your phone just because you walked outside or just because you happen to be talking on the phone. The other person can hear you, even if you're not yelling at the top of your lungs, I promise. I know you folks in ASMR world already know this, but a lot of people don't, who aren't into calm and relaxation and are instead have this weird psychological quirk. Oh, I'm outside. I have to scream into my phone at the top of my lungs so that the entire population of the city around me will know everything about my conversation and my personal life. Okay? All right. Bay cruises. See the cute little sea otter? They lay around on their back. They dive down and they get a shellfish, right? And they hold it in their front paws. Then they come back up and they use like a stone they've nestled in between their neck and their chin, and they'll pound the shell of the shellfish or the scallop or the mussel or whatever that is they've got there until they crack it open, and then they'll eat it. And, you know, they wash it and everything. It's kind of cute to watch. If you're really kind of wealthy and kind of uppity, you know, like if you feel like you're probably better than everyone else and part of the elite crowd, then you might want to go on the Chardonnay 2 wine tasting cruise, okay? Reservations recommended. That's for the upscale Silicon Valley crowd. They go on this bay cruise on this sail yacht, and they sip Chardonnay, of course. That's why it's called the Chardonnay 2. There's 2 of them, and, you know, champagne and pastries, right? Tuesday night special, a reduced fare where you bring your own bottle. Wednesday night, the local regatta, all right? Did I say that right? Friday night, local wineries, you know. Saturday, microbrew tasting. Hawaiian grill, Pono Hawaiian grill. That sounds pretty good. Sushi Sunday, okay? So you get the idea, right? I hope I'm not being too mean-spirited or anything. I wouldn't want to do that, so the most famous local winery in Santa Cruz, located in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which is a Mediterranean climate, is the Bargetto Winery. I mentioned it before. Doesn't that look picturesque? And they make some very fine wines up there, up by Bonnie Doon and places like that. They have multiple areas where they grow. Historic winery and cellars. See, here's an old picture from a long time ago. All right. There's a little map here of the area where they have tasting rooms and things. Here's the Bargetto family from when long ago when they started their winery, right? Focus, there we go. If I tell the camera to focus, it is more obedient than if I don't say anything, and then it's trying to get away with something like an unruly child, that has to be told what to do a lot. If you like to take your life in your own hands, or put it in the hands of fate, then you can go skydiving with ocean views. See there? You can fly out of Watsonville Airport, which is close by, and you can go skydiving. See there? There's tandem diving. That's where the dive instructor is behind you holding on, right? I think that girl kind of likes that. See there? Anyway, but my philosophy on skydiving is one that you've probably heard before from other sources, and that is, why would someone want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Okay, so that's just my take on it. I think I'm going to wrap it up here since we've talked quite a while. But I'm going to come back on a different day and talk about the other great tourist area, picturesque area also, of Monterey Bay, which is the Monterey side of the bay. And, I've been down there many times to Carmel and Monterey and the Big Sur Coast and Point Lobos, and so that's worthy of its own video because it's too long to discuss in a couple of minutes. So I hope this was relaxing to you. I hope you can't hear the rude person outside yelling into their cell phone, or if you can, I hope it's not distracting. And I think after this, I'm going to do a haul video of fishing equipment I bought the other day, since I have the fishing bug. I won a major in the Heartland Poker Tour. I played an event called Horse, and in that event, you play 5 different poker games, one full round of each game, and then it starts over. And I split for first place with another guy, so we each got $2,900, and that's pretty good for an event that only had a $225 buy-in, so I was happy with that, because that was a pretty good ROI, which stands for return on investment. In a horse, you play a full round around the table of hands with Hold'em, Texas Hold'em first, the standard game you see on TV. The next game is Omaha High-Low Split, which I have a video about. If you're interested, you can go back and look. The next game you play is Raz, And Raz is 7-card stud low ball. The lowest hand wins. And flushes and straights don't count against you for low. So the best hand is ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. But a very good hand would be something like ace, 2, 3, 4, 6. Or even ace, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll have a poker video about that sometime because I want to talk about horse. And that's H-O-R. We don't want to leave it there at whore, do we? So next is the S, and that stands for 7-card stud. And that is, of course, a game everyone pretty much understands and knows from their childhood if they ever learn to play poker. Although you younger people these days probably never heard of it. But, of course, when I was young, that's the game everybody knew. 5-card draw. I'm going to have to whisper again. My voice is going. The fall allergies. And then the last game in the horse, H-O-R-S-E, initials, is called 8 or better. And that's like Omaha, but it's 7-card stud, high-low split. But your low hand must be 8 and lower. 5 cards that are not paired, that are 8 and lower, like 8, 5, 4, 3, ace would be a low hand, for example. And then it starts over after 5 rounds like that. I'm gonna play a small horse tournament tomorrow night, and I'll let you know how I do. But I was very happy to split that win with that guy. We made a deal at the end, which I thought was favorable to me because he had about 60% of the chips and I had about 40% of the chips. But we seemed to be equally matched in ability. And so I said to him, it was dragging on a while when it got down to 2 of us. So I said to him, do you want to split 50-50? And at first he was very reluctant. And he said, well, I don't, I have more chips than you and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, let's play on then. And he could see I was very confident in how I was playing. And I think he was starting to lose patience. Because at that point in the tournament, we had been playing for 8 straight hours, with a couple of 10, 15-minute breaks thrown in there. I think he was pretty tired. And so he then agreed and said, all right, let's split the money. So that's what we did. And, anyway, I'll tell you about other deals I've made, whether they were good or bad, in the future in poker videos. All right, but for right now, let's wrap this up, and I'll move on to I think after I rest my voice a while, I'm going to do a fishing haul video of stuff I bought. Take care, everybody. Don't ASMR.